One of the most exciting things about working in science or research is that you're always on the lookout for something new. Whether it's an unexpected discovery buried deep within the earth or an astonishing breakthrough in a scientific laboratory, you could be the very first person to discover something that nobody else has seen before. The human race is getting a little bit smarter every day, and in this video, we've got some of the most surprising and remarkable new discoveries to show you. Many modern animals can trace their ancestry back to the time of dinosaurs, and now it seems the bat can be added to that list. Paleontologists working in China have recently uncovered evidence of a small species of dinosaur which had wings like a bat and flew in the skies above the country some 163 million years ago. The team initially believed they discovered a new species of prehistoric bird, until further examination showed that the creature had far more in common with dinosaurs than our feathered friends. The long, thin fingers are very dinosaur-like, and soft tissue traces around the arm and body of the fossil suggested that the wings were made of flesh. The species has been named Ambopteryx, which translates as two wings. Having confirmed the existence of the creature, the next step is to work out how it flew. The research team's current best guess is that it would have looked a little like a flying squirrel. A keen gardener will tell you that it isn't enough to have a garden that simply looks good. They should also smell amazing. From lavender through to roses, many of the flowers we'll have in our homes or present as gifts will have beautiful smells, which form as big a part of their appeal as their appearance. For truly special occasions, you can now get a type of orchid that's only found in the north of Madagascar, and it smells just like champagne. There are so many different types of orchid in Madagascar that this variety had simply been overlooked until Anton Cedar, an expert from the University of Vienna, went on vacation to the country to perform his own research and located the champagne flower in the remote northern tip of the nation, which travelers rarely visit. The orchid has beautiful 2-inch wide white blooms and a strong aroma of everybody's favorite celebratory drink. We wonder if he popped a bottle open to celebrate the discovery. Vincent van Gogh is known and celebrated as one of the greatest artists of all time. But tragically, in his own lifetime, he was unknown as an artist. It was only after he died that his great skill finally became appreciated. Although he struggled to sell his paintings while he was alive, today his best work is worth millions of dollars. That's why it always generates great excitement when a lost Van Gogh is discovered, as has happened recently in his home nation of the Netherlands. The work is a landscape sketch called The Hill on Montmartre with Quarries, and was completed in 1886. Not long after Van Gogh moved to Paris. It's a traditional drawing, of the kind he used to do before his Parisian surroundings inspired him to become more experimental with his style. The Van Gogh Museum had to verify the work, which had been privately owned by an American family after it was bought in 1917, and then forgotten about. The original owner was Johanna van Gogh-Bonger, the great painter's sister-in-law, who was one of the few people who recognized Van Gogh's talent while he was alive. If you think that Mohawk hairstyles started with the dawn of punk rock music in the 1970s, think again. A newly discovered species of dinosaur had punk rockers beaten to the punch by around 140 million years. Discovered in the Patagonia region of Argentina, the Bajadasaurus was a four-legged creature with a long neck that lived on herbs. All along the base of its spine were a series of spines that stood up to 2 feet tall, but were thin enough to bend like hair. The dinosaurs probably weren't aggressive, but would have used the spines as a warning to potential predators. It might even have been the case that there were thin layers of flesh between the spines, which would have given the dinosaurs the appearance of having a sail on their backs. Whatever the real reason for them, they would definitely have looked cool. Perhaps instead of being called Bajadasaurus, they should have been called Badassosaurus. Blue whale skeletons aren't a recent discovery, but thanks to the work of the Smithsonian Museum Support Center in Maryland, we can now see them in a whole new light. The pride of the collection within the museum is the Marine Mammal Collection, which is the biggest and best collection of marine fossils and skeletons anywhere in the world. There are over 100,000 specimens kept here in a climate-controlled environment. But out of all those exhibits, the gigantic blue whale skulls are the ones which stand out the most. Best of all, cutting-edge special effects are used within the museum to bring these old bones to life in ways that Hollywood would be proud of. Many of the skeletons, which were found during maintenance work on the Pan American Highway in Chile, have been 3D modeled in exhaustive detail, allowing researchers to study them in ways never before thought possible. All of the museum's work has been uploaded onto the internet free of charge. That means if you happen to own a 3D printer the size of a school bus, you could print your very own blue whale skull to hang on your wall, if your wall is big enough. As we currently understand it, matter can exist in 3 states: solid, liquid, or gas. Sometimes the line between solid and liquid is a little blurred, and so we have to apply some leeway. But we may have to apply more leeway than ever before to understand what's orbiting around the distant star WD 1145017. The white dwarf star is over 570 light-years from Earth, which makes detailed investigation of it a little difficult. But until now, it was thought that white dwarf stars were unable to sustain objects with a planetary mass within their orbit. There's definitely something going around the star, because it distorts the light being sent to Earth as it completes its orbit every 4.5 hours. But we're struggling to identify what it could be. Scientists think it might be a huge asteroid being slowly torn to pieces by the star and ejecting strange matter into space as it falls off. Common sense tells us not to go looking too far into dark, mysterious caves. That's always where monsters live in fairy tales. In reality, you're unlikely to find a monster hiding in one if you go to take a look yourself. You're more likely to find a strange and beautiful new form of life that nobody's ever seen before. Like this little arthropod that was recently discovered in Turkmenistan. Researchers exploring the Kaptarkan Cave in the east of the country located the tiny arthropod, which is less than an inch long and completely blind. It's been named Turkmenocampa mirabilis, with the latter half of the name referring to the miracle that a creature could survive in such challenging conditions. Spanish scientists used strong-smelling cheese as bait to attract anything living in the cave, and were delighted when the new creature followed its sense of smell and walked straight into their trap. When a team of students was invited to help out the experts at the Institute of Astrophysics and Space Physics in Milan, Italy, they ended up embarrassing the people they were supposed to be helping out. The keen students were handed a data set, which had been collected over the course of 15 years by the XMM Newton Observatory and given basic research tasks. The professors believed that the exercise would help the students to understand how such research was carried out. But instead, the keen students identified an unknown cosmic entity that the professors and scientists had completely missed. The unidentified object seems to have its own illumination, but the illumination isn't the steady or predictable kind we'd expect to see from a star. Instead, it was recorded to periodically increase its brightness by a factor of up to 40 within 5 minutes, and then go back to its normal state, before repeating the trick. The red-faced scientists are now hard at work trying to identify precisely what it is that the students have located. The territory of Kurdistan, within modern Iraq, already has a rich and varied history, but a new discovery indicates that its history may go back even further than we thought it did, and it may also have been even richer. A team of archaeologists working within the area has found evidence of an ancient city that predates everything we know about the area by several centuries. The stone foundations of ancient buildings, along with other artifacts including carvings made in stone tablets, indicate that the long-lost city may once have been one of the most wealthy anywhere in the world. The focus of the findings has been the Kunara region, where it would appear that a race of mountain-dwelling people once thrived some 4,000 years ago. trading flour and other basic goods with neighboring regions, and irrigating the land for agricultural purposes. Arrowheads found at the site were made from obsidian, which didn't occur naturally in the area, and so must have been transported from Anatolia, hundreds of miles away. Only wealthy people could have been able to pay for such an arrangement. Who were they? Scientists have long believed that our best chance of finding alien life is first to find a planet that offers similar conditions for life as our own. Now they think they found it. Around 500 light-years from our planetary home, there's a star called Kepler-186, which makes up part of the constellation of Cygnus. Astronomers have identified 5 planets orbiting the star, and one of them, Kepler-186f, is the perfect distance from its host star to sustain Earth-like conditions. Not only that, it's only 1.1 times the size of Earth. It's as close to a twin planet as we are ever likely to find. Kepler is much cooler than our Sun, but the distance between the star and the planet should still mean that water can exist on the surface as a liquid, the basic prerequisite for life as we know it. Could there be life on Kepler-186f? If there is, could they be turning their telescopes on us in the same way we're looking at them? Almost all historians agree that the earliest weapons and tools used by our human ancestors were first made out of wood and then from stone, before moving on to metal. If that's the case, who was using weapons made out of rare and valuable crystal in Spain over 5,500 years ago? The beautiful and baffling weapons have been found in an ancient tomb close to Valencia, which also contained clothing which had been extensively decorated with amber beads, suggesting that the person buried there possessed great wealth and power. Over 50 crystal weapons were found inside the Neolithic tomb, including 25 arrowheads carved from crystal, and a dagger with a 9-inch long crystal blade. There are no natural crystal mines in this part of Spain, so the buried person had either traveled a great distance to end their life here, or they had the means to pay for luxury, one-of-a-kind weaponry. There's a new tourist attraction in the city of Samara in Russia, and it's one with a top-secret history. Known as the Zhukov Bunker, it's been locked away and classified for decades, before finally being opened up for the public to visit in 2017. The bunker was constructed as a fortress to hide out from the horrors of the Second World War in 1941, but is understood never to have been used for that purpose. The plan was for Samara to become the nation's acting capital if the Germans ever captured Moscow, but Moscow never fell, and so the security bunker wasn't required. The bunker network expands to over 3,000 square feet and hasn't yet given up all of its secrets. The tunnels were flooded when the site was abandoned, and as the water subsides, long-forgotten documentation and artifacts are being found, which the government prefers to keep under lock and key. There have long been legends about a labyrinth of tunnels below Samara. Could the bunker have been their entrance?
Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and you will be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.